This is from the book One Woman versus Life by author Nikki Fuller. This is the chapter, It Can't Be That Difficult, Can It? Reading a question in an exam, catching a bus or train, driving on the motorway, eating in public, walking into parties and public toilets are all to me a minefield of dilemma, worry and anxiousness, which raises the question, am I that stupid? I have sat in exam halls knowing I have a fixed time to complete the paper, only to find myself reading the first question over and over and over again, breaking it down into the words, trying to digest it, register it, understand it. I am acutely aware that I only have a set time, almost to the point that I can hear the clock ticking. Everybody scratching their pens busily filling out answers is almost deafening, and the odd cough around the room are like hand grenades. I haven't even thought about whether I know the answer. I'm struggling still with the question. Maybe it's the way it's phrased. Maybe it's multiple choice, and I'm unclear of what the hell they want me to answer it. In the first 15 minutes, it is a frenzy of panic and despair. Stress levels rise. I get all hot and sweaty. And then my nose starts to run. And I haven't got a tissue. So now I have another problem. I am sitting there focusing and reading with all the external distractions that I don't think anyone else can hear. And I've got snot stringing from my left and right arm to my nose. What is the matter with me? Should it be this difficult? After all, I've revised, well, a bit. I'm equally as good as half the room. But it just makes me feel like a square block in this triangle world that we live in. People hop onto buses and trains, commute the whole time with utter ease and use motorways with confidence. But days before I embark on one, I would have to consider all tasks. I have put in my mind so many variables that running the country may in fact be an easier option. What ifs are popping up all over the place. What if I can't read the timetable? What if it's late? What if it changes its route? What if I get my jacket caught in the train door? What if my lenses pop out and I'm blind on a public transport? What if I go on and join a motorway and they won't let me actually get on? What if I'm on the motorway and I can't let someone on? What if I'm on the motorway and I can't get off? What if I'm on a B road and it automatically turns into a motorway? Oh, Christ! Perhaps I'll just stay at home today. Eating in public, can be a worry too. You can be armed with a tomato ketchup bottle, trying to get the contents out, willing it just to pour out nicely. Everyone at the table, willing it just to come out as it should, only to have it suddenly shoot out and send it like a direct hit onto someone else's plate, often not your own. Then comes the nervous wit to try and cover up your mess. So to keep your head down and you just have to carry on is sometimes your only answer, and pretend it didn't happen and just eat quicker to get away from the table. This is just an example of things that never seem to happen when you eat alone, but as soon as you're out, the food seems to take on a life of its own. As is the mustard moment, or the soup that is too hot, but you already have it in your mouth. The piece of meat that you've been chewing around that you just can't swallow. And the green leafy vegetable that lodges itself between your teeth, often just at the time we are relaxed enough to be flowing into conversation after a few glasses, or at that moment where first impressions count. Or what about the ice cream or the lolly that you try to eat gracefully, getting through it without it beating you by melting first and falling apart or dripping down you, or hitting you with brain freeze? And then there's candy floss and bubblegum bubbles that explode just as the wind changes and it gets caught in your hair. These are among the few of my challenges, and I'm sure you have some too, where food not only has the upper hand, but makes you look like an idiot. Now, walking into a party sends you right back to when vaccinations were handed out at school, pushing the person nearest to you in front of you to face the music first. What are you so worried about? It's only a party. wrong. In those first moments, it's make or break. Firstly, were you supposed to bring a gift or a card? But then, if you have, where do you put them? Or do you just discreetly leave them on the side, in which case, what's the point? Should you bring a bottle? Should you drink the bottle you brought with you? Is it out of place to bring wine, but then have a gin and tonic? Where do you bundle your coats? Who can you get to bundle it somewhere? Once in, then, who do you know? Who ought you to say hello to get out of their way before you start on the booze? Are there perhaps any exes there that you would like to avoid? Or your partner's ex, maybe, who is sizing you up from your shoes, your outfit, to your hair? Are there any individuals who you haven't seen since you were 10, hiding somewhere, ready to pop up? If there's a buffet, when is the right time to tuck in? You don't want to be the first. Halfway has to be strategically planned, but often foiled by the need to get another drink. Then arriving to eat the scraps comes across as a bit desperate. Or maybe, did you eat before you arrived? In which case, will it look rude? If you don't touch her, vol au vents. And then there's the question of should you dance? Or when is it best to leave? Really comes back to how much of her gin and tonic and that bottle of wine you actually found and actually drank. Oh, and one of my favourite talking points, and a world of dread and fear and pure, unadulterated anxiousness. Going to the toilet when not at home. It's a simple enough thing. We've been doing it all of our lives. Everyone has been doing it. But why does it feel like when you are out, you are the only person whose poos plop and smell? Normally, the first part of the jigsaw is location, location, location. Is it nearby? Up any stairs? In earshot of people? When you get there, will it be clean? Will there be toilet paper? What if I do need to do a number 2? Is it going to be straightforward, or are we now about to embark in an orchestra of taps on, taps off, a little fart here, a little fart there, the dreaded sound of it plopping in the loo by one means or another, and I think you know what I mean. Maybe shouldn't have had the dodgy pork pie syndrome. Then the frantic realisation that it was worse than you expected, and you do the 180 degrees head spin both ways to locate the air freshener, only to find it's empty or on its last legs. If you are lucky enough to have remembered you have perfume in your handbag, then good for you. Sorry, ozone, but needs must. For the rest of us who haven't been able to spray, we get ourselves together, knowing there's someone the other side of the door because the handle's been going, and either walk out with our head held high, muttering an apology or insisting it was the person before you, or my tactic is just to pretend I didn't see them and get the hell out of there quickly.